Yeah, I don't know what's going on today. Looks like we're gonna be short because technology is not working like I want to. I really don't know what's going on, and I'm not in the mood to figure it out. Uh-oh, what just happened? The technology all of a sudden kicking. It's horrible, 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 horrible. We got Shakeem in here. I got Sincere, the wordsmith, Waju, Supreme Being God. Welcome to the channel. 793rd, Shanali Whaley, P. Shanali, uh, KTJ, Knowledge the Journey, what you say here, Mecca Not Dead, Kendall Rowland. What's going on? We see Kendall Rowland in a minute. Got some old schoolers in here today. So you said, what was the inspiration behind the silverback gorilla T-shirt? I mean, that's kind of a New York thing we've been saying for years. You know what I'm saying? The inspiration is the role that the silverback plays, in his community. Role that the silverback plays, it's most dominant. I thought you was gonna ask me, West Coast Wise. You missed we got into the difference between you can't.
I don't got his numbers.
Yeah. Is that out tomorrow? But yeah, we dealt with the topic of the true and living God versus all the rest. We got knowledge about 120. Hold on, let me see. We back to the primitive stuff right now. Well, listen, wordsmith, like I said, God, you gotta turn that down. But yeah, wordsmith, I'm gonna tell you something. My born day is coming soon. You know what I'm saying? I don't got time left for some topics. You know, I mean, I still got a while, but it's like, yeah, it's not like, we go down any rabbit hole and don't worry where it leads. I mean, it's peace, you know what I'm saying? I have my things that I experiment with, but uh, I have to have a curiosity for some things. Sometimes when you take us into the tangent level, I'm just not the God I be. Actually, the God I be, I want to ask you a question that we had on yesterday. Uh, did Chauvin get enough time? Was justice served or was appeasement achieved? Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, in fact, I gotta hit Atif. His today's Atif's born day. He should be on in a minute. Kendall Rowland said he's watching the fake UFO stuff. I mean, that's one of them things that, like I said, I haven't taken the time to, look into it. But I'm just telling you that if all this UFO stuff turns out to be true, listen, we might have to score one more for Fard and Elijah. You may have to apologize.
Okay, Justin. A lot of people want to know if there's any warning back here. What?
Nah. Nah. So the God I be said, I think he got more than many thought he would get. Definitely more than I thought he would get. But as I've been, just looking at that question, I've been noticing that there's a lot of people that's like, nah, that's not enough. So that's what I'm saying. Me and you two, are we too old school? Where, we it's hard for us to see because they constantly changing how they manipulate. They constantly changing the form of the oppression. You know what I'm saying? To keep people off balance. So, the way that they was doing things, say in the Jim Crow era, right? Uh-oh, did the technology just kick in? The way they was doing things in the Jim Crow era is not the same way they was doing things, in the late 1900s. You know what I'm saying? They were same way they was doing things in the late 1900s, is not the way they doing things right now. So are we, just too old to see? No, I won't be doing that, Worship. Fly phrase from Providence Plantations. Divine Truth for Love. Kenny Rowland, he got 22 and a half years so far. Reagan said he saw the wheel. We talking about Ronald Reagan is in the White. Shaquem said it wasn't enough time. However, he got enough compared to the past. Plus, still got Fed charges over his head. So when he get charged with depriving civil rights. That's always been a bugged out charge for me. Like the first time I recall them pulling that out was at the Rodney King trial. You know what I'm saying? When they got acquitted by the state, and then they got tried by the federal government for violating his civil rights. Nas said it should be a life for a life. I mean, that definitely would have been a tall order. So West Coast Wise said they had to sacrifice him. That was one man compared to the billions of dollars that would be wasted trying to recuperate if they gave him no time. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, that's kind of my point, and I guess it's a double-edged sword because, you would have to say that the people had an impact on that. You know what I mean? But yeah, how much of that was done? Because listen, the state of Minnesota just cannot afford another summer 2020. How much of it, is it going to change? Because, these things, they go in cycles. Where, it'll be quiet for a couple of months and then all of a sudden, 4 or 5 brothers and sisters, unarmed and, not committing a crime that's commensurate with the death penalty in the street. Is this going to be a reason that we see less of that? Where, police will now be concerned. The original Mr. 120. But yeah, that was, I guess that's one that we still got to, wait and see how it comes out. Because to me, they doing a shadow work in the background. And by that, what I mean is, you see a huge amount of coverage right now, at least in New York, right? We're seeing a huge amount of coverage about street violence. And I'm not saying that it's not a factor. But what I'm saying is there's often a lot of street violence, right? And I think that that they're being very strategic now in the way that they're covering it, right? So that, all of this coverage will be used as examples of why we have to bring back the prison complex. Why we have to, like, for instance, right now, right, in New York, the God I be, I'm sure you're aware of this, we already have the candidates for mayor you know, kind of starting to compete over how tough they're going to be on crime. And so, you know, before, of course, we always, you know, we put the responsibility there on Giuliani, right? But now we see that we have the front runner for the Democratic nomination is speaking about bringing back stop and frisk as soon as he comes in office. You know, and I'm saying that this is historic, you know, just to let y'all know, this is not just my conspiracy theory. I'm saying that if you look historically, right, these reports is what they use to justify, you know, the brutality. You know, going back to whether you're talking about the Klan, you know, and you know, these reports that ever since emancipation, there's these crazed Negroes running around raping white women up and down the countryside. You understand what I'm saying? Or, you know, also when you deal with the firepower as law enforcement increased their firepower, that was also one of the things they did. They kept putting these reports out, right, of crazed Negroes, right, who, especially when drugs hit the scene. Remember, at emancipation, there's really no dope, there's no coke, there's no angel dust. Then as these drugs start to come, you start seeing the reports coming out that, you know, now these crazed Negroes that rape white women, right, they cannot be stopped with regular firepower when they're on drugs. And you see this, that's the same thing. I seen that, you know, in my era, they increased their firepower by saying, you know, there's these crazed Negro children with so much firepower, you know, that in order for us to combat them, we have to increase our firepower. So when I see these same reports, like I said, I'm not saying that the people that's doing this stuff in our community is right. But I'm just saying, watch how it's used. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, you know, in the same way, you know, see the drug epidemic now is used to get you health care. Whereas it was used, you know, in our community, right, to get you in jail. So you know, I'm you know, I got my eyes open on that one. God be said Adams might lose. You think he might lose in the primary part, or you think he's gonna lose to Curtis Slewa? God be said we need an end to qualified immunity. So just for the definition for everybody, what does qualified immunity mean? Shakim said Minnesota has another big case to deal with. The police that caught Taser with a gun plus the other officers in the Chauvin case, Minnesota will be spending money regardless. You know, I thought that went a long way to getting Chauvin convicted. You know, it was like, listen, like, look, dude, listen, that's it, man. And we was going to try to work it out, but listen, man, you can't make it. That's got to be the worst news that Chauvin ever got. It's got to be. So you think so? So IB, who do you think is going to defeat him in the primary? I mean, I can't. You know, I have to say, I agree with you on that. I could hardly believe that Curtis Lee was there. So Kendall Rowland, what you say here with Juneteenth? I mean, I remember this was all around the same time, but how did Juneteenth fit in? So, God Abi said qualified immunity means that government officials will not be prosecuted for doing these acts during their work. You know, that also extends to people. There's a part of qualified immunity like a person can accuse you of something, right? And what they accuse you of could not be true, right? But you can't sue that person if the person they told was the authorities. So here's an example of what I'm saying. A person calls BCW, ACS, DIFUS, whatever they call it where you're from, right? The child welfare, right? They call them and say that you're abusing your child. And then they come and do the investigation and they find that, there's no abuse here. You don't have any recourse against that person, right? In the criminal court, maybe you can sue anybody in the civil court. Anybody can sue anybody. But you also have qualified immunity from that. So and just adding on and say, yeah, that's another form of the qualified immunity that needs to go, in my opinion. Right. The God I be say, so if they do, if officers of the government, right, are found liable for some type of damage to a person, then the taxpayers have to pay the liability. And that is another thing that I was hearing about. They may start to challenge, you know what I'm saying? At least in New York, where if an officer is involved, you know, in harming, you know, citizens or whatever, they find liable for that, that the officer has to be on the hook too. You know, he's liable to pay money as well. You know, now that'll definitely be something that will have an impact. Henry Rollins said they understand that Black people are easily satisfied with symbolic gains instead of any real tangible gains. You know, that kind of goes into the question that was the title today. You understand what I mean? You know, will you receive more gold or just fall a victim? You know, that was the title of the live. You know, it's inspired by a lot of things, but you know, that's kind of what it is right there. You know, this the $64,000 question every day. You know, some of these is questions that I ask, right, is just questions that you should ask yourself every day or ask yourself at the beginning of an endeavor. You know, to ask you, you know, to really qualify what it is you're doing. You know, are you really dealing with knowledge and wisdom, or are you really dealing with wisdom and knowledge? You know what I'm saying? You know, and the key with questions like that is predicting the history. See, like, look, you know, if you partake in some shit, right, and then you end up in jail, then you know, yeah, well, I didn't receive more gold. You know, it's plain to see that at that point you fell a victim. You understand what I'm saying? But you know, your wisdom is going to be born. And you know, when things is born, right? You know, fortunately or unfortunately, you know, fortunately or unfortunately, everything is not born alive. You know what I'm saying? Everything is not, you know, born at a point, you know, everything is not born with the capacity to reach the fullest capacity of the cream of the planet Earth. You know, just in general with people, like there's people who it's almost like you went back, right? You went back in time and performed abortion on your own life. Like you know, there's some things that you know, a person do that, you know, you got kids 16, 17 years old. They ain't never going to see the outside world again. By the time they got to that point, it was too late to say, will you receive more gold? See, That's what happened in the 136. Did they receive more gold? No, it's too late. And we see that as being, you know, oh, that's Queen Mecca is Shanali Whaley. What's going on, Queen Mecca? We see you in a minute. Mr. Spot. Yeah, you got to break that down for me one day. I'll be the rank choice. I'll be is talking. We discussing the mayor's race in New York right now, and they have some kind of new system, at least new to New York, that I don't really understand. You know, where you put your first place person and your second place person. I'm not really sure what it is. Well, we know for a fact it's Queen Mecca because her comments keep getting erased. The God Abi said when we look at precious metals as more valuable than ourselves, we lose every time, especially being a savage in the pursuit of happiness. Yeah. You know, and really, understanding value. You know what I'm saying? Just in terms of you know, what we deal with in the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? You know, the GOLD or the GOAL. And a lot of times that's why I say you got to keep asking your question that every day. You understand what I mean? Because sometimes you may set off, right, in pursuit of the GOAL and then get caught up in the GOLD. That's what happens to lots of people. You know what I'm saying? Shanali says, Queen Mecca said, running out of time. Who's running out of time? See, I can't really run out of time. There's certain things, we only have 24 hours a day, so it's certain things that I can't accomplish or in one 24-hour cycle. But VC round, we just dealing with time. Look, I'm in my time right now. You know what I'm saying? I didn't waste no time. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever happens outside of my time, that was supposed to be outside of my time. That was somebody else's time. But it's not like it's going to be, 2,500 and you say I ran out of time. I didn't run out of time. You see what I'm saying? Because, I understood the science of word is bond. I understood the signs of making the word flesh. And see, that's at the end of the day, when you say, will you receive more gold or will you fall a victim, right? What's going to happen when your word is made flesh? What's going to happen when you live out your thoughts and ideas? What's going to come back from it? That's what we weighing and judging. You know, that's what we out here teaching the people. You know, this is why we studying the lessons and all of that, so that we can come up with a way to live that delivers the best part to us. We got the bar. The bar came in. It's West Coast Wives' favorite person. Did you know C God is home? What's your name here? Empress Imperioris, whatever that is. Did you know C God is home? Shaka Nulu, peace. It says, when I'm building on is right in line with the trending topic on YouTube about the BET Awards. What will you do for the money? Look at the Nas X, Cat, and Megan. Empress Imperial. I can't. What's the name? Amina. Well, I don't really pay too much attention to Nas X. You know what I'm saying? To each his own, but my personal opinion is he's being imposed on us. You know what I'm saying? And he's not the first person, but you know how there's some people where it's like, yeah, they real popular, but you don't know nobody personally that likes them. There's always something funny about that too. But Megan, I really, she's after my time too. I really don't know. I seen her and all I really know is a lot of women say she's a man. Other than that, I heard that the song, I didn't really like it, the song with her and Cardi B, but I don't think they made it for me. I mean, that's your favorite person. You're in Asiatic mathematics. But yeah, I'm not too familiar with what they did, but I am familiar with the fact that the hip hop was, well, hip hop is, but just speaking in terms of the history of what's already happened, hip hop was a resource. The the most like intrinsic value, meaning that something is valuable in and of itself. Like, see, whether they sell food at the supermarket or not, for whatever price they sell it for, is valuable. Like, see, even if I grow a whole bunch of food to sell, if for whatever reason I don't sell it, right? That food is still valuable to me. You understand what I'm saying? You know, knowledge and skills that we have, you know what I'm saying, is still you know, that's always going to be valuable. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas, you know, a lot of things, you know, just material things, they valuable, you know, even either in a short period or of time, or they valuable based on, you know, our perception at that time, you know, or maybe even our reality at that time. Meaning, like I'm saying, 150 years ago, right? A fine horse saddle would have been very valuable. But right now, you know, when's the last time you went in the store and saw a horse saddle? At least if you were in like a metropolitan type area. When's the last time you went in the store and saw a, a horse saddle? And so, you know, we see that time and time again, whether it was the land that we let go in the South, right, to migrate to the cities, you know, um, you know, other forms of music from jazz to rock and roll, but also with hip hop, it was something that we traded the resource, right, for the things that was valuable in our perception at that time. You know what I'm saying? You know, these is things that, but you know, the flip side of the coin of that, um, is that this is what poverty and desperation does. You know, this is what you know, the different people that you see around the world. You know what I'm saying? You know, why do they continue to make the same bad decisions? You know what I'm saying? It's because the poverty and desperation, uh, you know, has such an impact, you know, on a person's, you know, reasoning abilities, you know, and on a person's uh, discipline in decision making. Yeah, see, 793 says Sears used to sell livestock. Yeah, but they're not right now. That's what I'm saying. That was at that time, you know, because of the perception and the reality that people existed in at that time, that was valuable. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, the big story about that is the big story about that is uh when people invested all their money in tulips. Like tulips come in certain colors that the people in Europe had never seen before. And so they were so intrigued by the tulips that people started investing their money in tulips like it was Bitcoin or Apple or Amazon or something. And then one day, somebody said, yo, man, shit is just flowers, yo. And all of a sudden, in everybody's perception and reality, the tulips was not worth anything anymore. But so many people had invested so much of their money in that a huge part of the economy was tied up in these tulips. So of course, when the tulips crashed, the economy crashed. You know, and it's is when you hear the story, it sounds ridiculous, but the reality is we've done that. Like the God I said, with precious metals, from gold chains to aluminum alloy rims, with all of the different, things that have become valuable, right? Only because how much of our, how much of our own energy is placed in that. You understand what I'm saying? And that's with everything. This is not a law school because, something was ordained, even in 1967.
Hey, Dad, can't leave.
All right. This is a law school, right? Because people here got the knowledge of self and they ready to teach it. See, wherever you at, right? See, that's why Mecca is where you make it. You see what I'm saying? Because of the energy that you put into that place actually gives it that value. See how many times, look, it can be anything, right? It can be abroad. And you know somebody, it could be a guy, it could be somebody in your family, and he's all caught up in this broad, and you like, yo, son, she ain't man. Like, why you bugging, son? But see, that's the value that he's putting actually with his mind. You know what I'm saying? Just like, look, the power, right, of the mystery God is placed in him by the people who's searching for trillions of years. You see, he ain't never came and told nobody nothing. See, the dead is never known to return from the grave, and his ass is never known to return from there neither. See, all his teachings stopped 2,000 years ago. That's the last time, according to them, he's been on the street showing and proving. See, exactly, Kendall Rowland made a point right there. Money is what we say it is. You see? And anybody that ever been, unfortunately, but if you've had the misfortune of being locked up in jail, you know this. That we can make money out of anything. It's just a matter of what people value. See, what gives the American dollar value, right, is that you can only pay your taxes. You can only deal with the government with that fiat currency, the U.S. government notes. That's the only thing they accept government payment in. And so ultimately, we can make deals with whatever we want to do. We can still institute the bartering system right now. There's nothing illegal about that. But at the end, whatever's the value of them barters you made, you're supposed to pay your taxes in United States government notes. You see what I'm saying? $793 said they dropped the ball, and now the retail malls, auto depot, additional home improvement department, and whole craftsman tool line from before the 60s is getting outsourced and copped by other companies. Wait, what is this? I missed something? Yeah, right. The guy at IB says cigarettes and stamps is money in jail. Look, soap, all kinds of listen, you can lose your life, man, over the right soap. Like I said, for the right soap, some motherfuckers gotta kill you in there, man. Over it, some soap, not over the soap in terms of that's what y'all beef with. Somebody can pay him in soap. Believe it or not. Seeing people gamble with all kinds of chips. Oh, well, yeah, see now y'all get more into, the economy in general. These are some things, I mean, those was things that I thought was going to be important that was going to come to the forefront, in terms of after the election and everything, you know what I mean? You know, this is, let's use type of terminologies because sometimes what it is, you gotta, but look, some type of policies that kind of foster the competitiveness, right, of Black people in the economic realm. See, because that's all of those are I what's the hour? Hold on for a second. Let me get my what's in it. Right. I'll be back in two minutes. But yeah, back to what I was saying is that, I thought that there would be some more things like that, and like I said, when you got the poverty, you got the desperation, and you got certain urgent matters that have to be dealt with, you know what I mean? But in the long term, these things like Sears, Ford, Chrysler, we talk about them now as just companies. You know what I'm saying? But 793rd, I'm sure he recalled that, at one time, these things was like it was like you know, almost making it to the big time. You know, like getting a job at GM was almost like becoming a rapper or something. Like it was people that was famous in the hood. Like, yeah, they, you know, that cat do right there. Yeah, you work for Ford, man. You work for GM. You know what I'm saying? So as these industries, all right, no doubt. You know, as these industries disappear, you know what I'm saying? We see our situation, you know, becoming even more desperate, you know, but, you know, a lot of it is about us preparing ourselves. You understand what I mean? You know, the science is just the science. It don't just apply to one thing and don't apply to the other thing. You understand what I mean? We have to renew history. Picking cotton ain't the move right now. You understand what I'm saying? 200 years ago, you pick some cotton, hey, look, I got a place for you to stay every day. But we have to be able to move on. You understand what I mean? Shockingly new applesauce. I don't think that's my song. Isn't that isn't that what's the young guy name from Canada? What's the young guy name again? Raz. I think I've heard it. Hopefully God don't ring my neck forgetting his name, but I got a lot on my mind right now. Christopher Gooding. Kendall Rowland said, at this point, since the American dollar has been changed from money to currency, the American dollar is nothing more than religion. The only reason the dollar works is because we believe in it. Mr. Spock said only a matter of time before Barnes and Nobles goes out of business due to the success and prices of Amazon. You know, I was surprised to find that Barnes and Nobles was still in business because, you know, a lot of them closed down. You know, but yeah, there's still a few staple stores out there. A couple, there's one on 17th Street between Park and Broadway. There's one on Broadway uptown, like in the 80s or something like that. Like 82nd Street, maybe 83rd Street, something like that in Broadway. There's another one somewhere, but yeah, they going away to Dodo Bird. Raj Fresco, yeah, that's Raj Fresco's song. That's not my song. I'm pretty sure. Nazareth said Ford, Chrysler, GM are like the same companies here. Master Lock, Briggs, and Stratton, Ryerson, Steel, things of that nature. They're in the same boat. Lots of money being paid and lots of kids going to college. Yeah, you know, in that area, you know what I'm saying, the upper Midwest, yeah, that's huge. You know what I'm saying? But those are the things, what I'm saying is uh you know, actually doing knowledge, you know what I mean? Not just being, you know, a slave of a mental death and power. You know what I'm saying? Where a person comes out with this plan, yo, look, I want you to make these cars, and then you show up to make the cars, right? But then you don't uh, you know, do nothing about self-elevation. Like you don't learn anything about the car business. Like, did you know that the guy that made Wendy's, right? Did you know he used to work for Kentucky Fried Chicken? He's the guy that made Wendy's, Dave, whatever his name is. He's a Kentucky Colonel too. Just saying that he learned some things working at that business, right? That he went and applied for himself. I'm saying as original people, we're not doing that. And we're doing even worse because, in some instances, we're the ones who are inventing the industry. And then we still don't go through the signs of growth and development, right, of those resources. So we end up waiting to what? Receive the goal that we never really received. Yeah, but Shaka Nulu, I mean, I would say that was done like last spring, maybe last summer. But it was like a quick, like whenever that album came out, I might have did my thing maybe like a week or two before that. I don't know. Yeah, Borders Books, Walden Books. Yeah, you should be a lot of, bookstores. Uh, it's hard to say right now for me, you know what I mean? Because I still see people doing a lot of reading, you know what I mean? Not necessarily books, the same kinds of books that I saw being read in the past. I'm not sure, but yeah, that the Amazon, the Kindle, the books going on to the digital realm, right? At some point in history, right, I predict that that's gonna have it's gonna occupy the same type of space in terms of the impact that it had on history as the Gutenberg printing press. You know what I'm saying? To where how it changed all of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? It changed because, now everybody has access to certain knowledge of everything from scientific, scientific finds to the Bible. We can do the knowledge. So it didn't just change, what people read and how people read. It changed the whole. It made reality different. The God I be said he still go to the Barnes and Nobles on Broadway. Yeah, I still go in them, but I ain't gonna. I go in there. I cheese. But I'm that way. I go there. I read the book right there. Yeah, I don't buy nothing. I read the book right there. Mrs. Fox said the yuppies still go to the bookstores for ambiance, to sip coffee, talk, etc. There's a lot of them still in Manhattan and BK. I don't see that many. But and look, Mrs. Spot, that's also a part of what I seen is that before people would read books and then, like you said, they at the coffee shops or certain parks or wherever they might be, certain areas, they accumulate and they discuss what they learned from the book. To me, that's the comment sections now. All of the different social media things where I mean, yeah, it's different the way people are interacting and the way they're talking about it, but that's exactly my point, is that this method, this change in how we acquire information, is just beginning to have an impact. You know what I'm saying? Like the first people who grew up totally on this paradigm is starting to become adults. The people who really don't recall books. Like I remember when little kids used to have books where you go, sometimes you go to somebody's house, right? And kid will pull out a book on you. So yeah, read this book right here to me. And the funny thing, right, is the kid always know what the book say. Even if they can't read, they know exactly what the book said. But that's just it. They want to see if you can show or prove. Check you out and they can see if you know how to read. You don't see little kids doing that. You understand what I'm saying? All of these things this is a change. Oh, I ain't know Infinite. Infinite was in here. Yeah, our power, that's the guy, man. Two screens, man. Kendall Rowland said the audio book thing is real big right now, but I still like real books because I have found that the audio books leave some paragraphs out. I need to see all of the words. That's just me. Yeah, and then plus, when a person is speaking and they put in certain emotions and all of that. But see, when you're reading something, right, you can read it different ways. There's a definite impact. Like when I don't know if they still talk about that, right? But that was big. Like when I was in school, you know what I'm saying? And we dealt with that specific topic that you're talking about, right? About the difference between somebody talking and you reading. You know what I'm saying? And the example that they was giving us at that time was the presidential debate between Richard Nixon and John Kennedy. The first time when Nixon ran when he lost, right? And the point that they was or the example, the thing about that they was using to make the point was that for the people who read, if they read the transcript of the debate in the newspaper the next day, they thought that Nixon won. But if you saw the debate and you heard it in all these other levels of communication, you know what I'm saying? The things that you're saying, that's like the first level of communication. You understand what I'm saying? But we got all types of words, right? That it could be the same word. You understand what I'm saying? But all types of context come into it, who's saying it, how they saying it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. See, like right now, if you're a man from elementary school, right, your people that you grew up with be like, yo, that's my boy. Like, yo, my boy such and such over there. Yeah, that's my boy right there. Now, we're not pro-black or anti-white here, but I'm just saying, if a white man, let's say, that fits the description of Donald Trump, he just fit not saying it's Donald Trump, just, white guy, that age, that background, says that's my boy. See, we might scrap. Me personally, that's so, yeah, I think all of that is gonna have a impact. Khalik Asil. Comes on, he said, I read Asada's autobiography at Barnes and Noble. Yeah, I be doing that. Look, I go there sometimes. I get the stuff for dummies, all this type of stuff. But that's me. Let's say you gotta follow me. Mr. Spock makes a good point right here. I need to turn pages. I can't be staring at screens all the time. Yeah, it is something very different. To me, even the look of the word on the paper and just for some reason I can't visualize the words on the screen the way I can visualize them on the paper. You know what I'm saying? Like when I think of my lessons, right? I can see the words on the paper. Now that could be just because of the amount of times I looked at it. You know what I'm saying? But it was like that from the very beginning. For some reason it just don't work the same way with the screen. The guy that be make a very good point. It's very difficult to read a full book right now, especially while caught up in the rat race. And that's one of those things that I do think is being used to that effect. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, we like before when we used to say in terms of the slave, their day was broken into 8 hours of work, 8 hours of recreation, and 8 hours of rest. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a whole lot of spare time for planning your freedom. You don't have time that's not monitored. So by the same token, yeah, if I can overload you with so much information, right? And overload you with so many responsibilities that you don't have time for reaching your fullest potential, you know what I'm saying? Then yeah, I win. Yeah, if we compete, I win. Khalid Garcia said we had a great bookstore in Vegas on the west side. Black owner closed it down a while ago, right across from the NOI Mosque. Shaka Lulu said real books feel good in the hand. And that is the aspect of things, right? Where the more senses that you can perceive something with, right? The stronger the root, the stronger it becomes rooted in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, see, food, that's one of the reasons why food, right, is so outstanding to people in the taste of food, because there's so many ways that you experience it, you know, and all of those different ways can affect you. Like, you could just smell the food and don't see it and get hungry. Or you could be looking through the window of the restaurant and just see the food. Like, yeah, that look good. Get hungry. Or you can walk in and you can just hear the pot. You know, people, they hear that coffee thing go off and they react to that. Because there's so many senses that you experience that with. That's why you got to pay attention. See, that's why it's not just good to, you know, you got the lessons memorized, no, you got to be able to speak it. You got to live it. And when you experience it in all those ways, that's a greater impact that it has, that it takes root in your mind. Powerful. I said reading funds the mental. God I said I read so many books during my bed and during college that I need a break. At least my mind needs one. You know, but look, that's a good you know, barrier to have run into. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it is that way. You know what I'm saying? Just like you say that, you know, knowledge is food for the mental. You know what I'm saying? You do have to give mentally time for that stuff to digest. $7.93 said read the guy Emerald's book on an electronic old school BlackBerry type device. That's interesting. Wordsmith said got to be careful with PDF books because some people try to edit other people's works. So you got to keep that in mind. Now to say, I recall meeting a chick from Atlanta and she asked me, did I want to go kick it at the place where the cool people kick it? I said, yeah. And it would turn out to be Barnes and Nobles. Still, that is a hotel chairman. Gemini third said, my whole earth has to be holding the heavy hard copies, aggravating carpal tunnel and arthritis. Wordsmith said, I downloaded a copy of the Emerald Tablets, which I have a physical copy of, and the PDF was edited in some satanic Christianity biblical stuff. Quizar Quaco LeBron. Hey, Quizar Quaco LeBron, you said you need to draw out what we was building on yesterday. So yeah, I guess let's start there. We could do that and begin to wind this one down because you know how y'all do. But what was it? Which part did you feel you need to draw up? Kendra Rowland said, I've been to Barnes and Nobles and they have a very small black book section, even though I know the all scientific books authored by whites are still about us, but I still see the decline of the Black bookstore. I mean, I got a personal opinion about that. That you know, the Black books, at least in a particular era, it just you know, it just started being about you know some kind of like Black exploitation, I guess you could say. You know, they all, you know, the same story. You know, dude is a hustler. You know, dude gets locked up. You know, and you know, somehow his ride or die. You know, saves. You know, it's all in this kind of thing. You know, it's no depth there. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, on the other side of the coin with that, right? At one point, I was a little bit upset with Spike Lee when he started doing certain movies. You know, leave everything else out about Spike Lee. Just dealing with the movies, right? You know, once he started making certain movies, I felt like, oh yeah, now you're making white movies. You know what I'm saying? I'm not into it. You know, you're not making She's Gotta Have It or you know, what was the movie with Don't Believe the Hype, Bugging Out and Do the Right Thing? You're not making that no more, right? But over time, I came to understand that he had to do that in order to be a director and not a Black director. You understand what I'm saying? See, kind of in the same way, when you say, listen, if it's a scientific book, it's about the Black family. You know, if it's about biology, if it's, you know, all of these different things, right? You know, but why don't we realize that? Why don't we, you know, see that? You know, I think one of the reasons we don't see it is because, you know, we got this particular section. You know what I'm saying? You know, the love and hip hop section. You know, the basketball wives section. You know what I'm saying? And that stuff is very limited. It's very limited. The amount of people that's interested in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, yeah, they go, you know what I'm saying? You know, people will be interested in it, but it's just, there's no future in it. Hmm. West Coast Wise said, I do find it crazy that when I was a teenager, I could read an 800-page book in 23 hours, but I'm struggling to read a 200-page book now. But, you know, a lot of that is because our attention spans is so much shorter that, you know, we constantly, like, even when we're looking at these computer screens, right, the light looks constant, but in reality, the lights is flashing on and off, and it's exciting your brain. in a subconscious way that you don't know. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is. It's like, you know how like if you driving on a highway, right? You driving on a highway and you going like 80, whatever, you know what I'm saying? You shooting, you going state to state, right? Now when you get off that highway, right? And you start going the speed limit inside the town, 30 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, whatever it is, right? That seems really slow. Like it's like at least for me, once I get in that mode where I'm, sometimes I'm leading the pack out there. I've driven from down south, then get passed by one car. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was flying. Then when you get off and you go on regular speed, all of a sudden now it's too slow for you. So it's the same thing. We surrounded by all this excitement and all this stuff. You know what I mean? And we seeing all this and this, and then it's like, when you do just the regular stuff, and a lot of things is like that we so used to some technologically advanced thing that when we experience the real thing, right? We like, yeah, nah, that ain't really popping like that. You know what's starting to be like that? Women. That you look at Instagram, right? And then you see some regular women in the street, they look chopped up. Not because they are, but because you've gotten used to this other thing. It's not even real. We got Ibn Arabi. Ibn Arabi joined us. You got Abi said, I went to the Revolution bookstore on Linux and asked for books by Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, and Diop, and they basically said they don't carry those types of books. What? They pushing a communist agenda. Get out of here. The bookstore in Harlem don't have Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben? See, that illustrates something. I'm not sure what yet. Kareem said, I'm trying to go to the Schomburg Library. The Schomburg Library, man, it kind of, you can't really look at that in there. Like, Born King. To I. Yeah. Listen, to I. To I is yeah. To I definitely know about that road saying. Oh man, peace to God. But we're gonna wind this one down. You know what I'm saying? Today was a real barn burner out there. It was about 95 degrees out here in New York today. So I was out there getting my swings in. It's time for me now to go get some rest. So the rest of this week can pop off. Of course, shout out, happy born day to Atif. You know what I'm saying? Welcome home to See God. Like I said earlier, you know what I mean? Supreme Man's born day is on the 1st. We want to give out pre-born day a preborn day shout out to Supreme Man. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, in between time, if you made it this far, of course, oh yeah, our Chief just came in right there. You know what I mean? So like I said, once again, happy born day. Shout out to our Chief. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that made it this far in the live, of course, do the each one, teach one, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Hit the notification button if you want to know when we're going live with these civilization classes. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do our best to make it on there tomorrow because we gotta do the civilization class, of course. Now we're going to start the turn up after this. You know what I'm saying? And do what it is that we do. Kendra Rowland said the only Black movie that I can give credit is the movie Red Tails that George Lucas paid for out of his pocket. And I'm not familiar with that one. But, like I said, in the meantime, in between time, I'll see y'all tomorrow. But for right now, I'm going to say peace.